I didn't even know they lived around here.
Well, that's an interesting fact. I didn't know they lived here either. We better have a look, see if we can get him out of this hole, check him out. It's so difficult getting these things out of a hole. Their legs are like a big chunk of steel, very, very strong. And the biggest problem is, if he turns around inside that hole and grabs hold of my fingers, he's going to strip the meat off down to the bone. I got hold of him. He's pretty well anchored, but as long as you get their back feet off, you should be able to prise them out. Here we go. Got him.
Oh,
What a beauty.
God, this is beautiful.
What a little beauty.
Look at him, and that's a sand goanna.
Yeah, this is a sand goanna. He'd be 2 meters, 6 feet. You can see that forked tongue coming out.
Didn't like the way I tasted.
No, she's too salty, isn't he? Isn't he just beautiful?
So he's built for digging.
Yeah, they're very good at excavating big holes. Have a look at the scar tissue. Now, he's seen some action. A few scars there on his legs. Big belly. Look at those claws, very muscular. They can run. Like for me, if I ran flat out, I could just keep up with them. A big one like this is a little bit slower, but isn't he muscly? Very, very muscular. Give you a little kiss.
Oh, in the eye.
It's such an ordeal for a sand goanna, isn't it?
God, he's gorgeous.
He's a beauty. He's a beauty. Really.
Okay, we'll let this monster go back down into his hole. The thing that interests me is why they're here and why was he scratching around at that old stump back there?
You don't suppose he has a female around here or something?
Well, for this big bloke to be here, I'd say it's quite possible that there is a female in the area. Let's go back to that stump and have a look. I want to know why he was buzzing around there. This is it. Terry, have a look at this.
This is awesome.
This is beautiful. This is why he was scratching around the stump. What I want you to do is, can you just keep your eye on my back? Because if Mum comes around, she's going to protect the nest. What we've got here, these are baby sand goannas. And Mum will actually defend the nest. If anything comes around her nest, she'll actually attack them with her throat puffed out and her mouth open and a show of teeth. Get away from my babies.
Oh, but then I don't understand what the male was doing. Does he protect them too?
Well, it's a very unfortunate set of circumstances there. And what it is, I'd say he would have eaten them. And that's one of the many interesting problems that you have in the scrub. When food is hard to get, they will resort to eating their own eggs and their own young. The female, she certainly wouldn't touch her eggs. But that large male, he looked pretty hungry, and that's why he was scratching around this nest. He wasn't trying to save the eggs, he was going to eat them.
How many eggs do you suppose are in there? Can you tell yet?
Well, the average clutch size is about 15. I can see, what, about 8 or 9 there? So there'd probably be over 10. Some are still buried in the sand. And they're the best-looking eggs I've ever seen. By gee, they're good-looking eggs. See how round and firm they are.
Yeah, but they're not hard like chicken's eggs. Why is that?
Well, like all reptile eggs, except for crocodiles, they have a soft shell. It's a very soft, rubbery type shell there, and that enables the baby, when he's all curled up in there, he uses up the egg yolk. And as he's using up the egg yolk, he'll develop, and then he gets an egg tooth. Now, can you see this little bloke penetrating his nose through the eggshell there?
I can't quite see where the egg tooth is.
Very hard to see. It's a microscopic little tooth situated right on the end of his snout. And it's that small that without a microscope, you'd be very hard-pressed to find it. And as that baby's developed, like they're ready to hatch right now, he's ready to go, and he'll just slide his egg tooth across the eggshell, pierce it, and then stick his nose out.
If they've used up all the egg yolk while they were developing, what's that shiny, like, fluid stuff I see coming out?
That's called umbio, and that's the fluid that's contained all the way around the baby. So while they're in there, they don't breathe air that we know it. And this little baby here, he hasn't had his first breath of air, so to speak. He's relying on what air is taking inside the egg.
So immediately when they come out, the first thing they do is check the air with their tongue, so they're actually like smelling where they are. Are they looking for predators, or do they have that instinct yet?
Well, what he's doing is that forked tongue's coming out, same as a snake. That's his first sensory organ that comes out of the egg to locate, yes, if there's any danger, if there's any predators in the area, if mum's there, what the air temperature's like, any foreign smells. That's his first instinctive thing to do when he gets out of that egg, is to sniff the air and find out if there is any danger and what's going on.
That's amazing. And then right after they do that, they take their first breath.
Yeah, should be coming up pretty soon. See how he's still got his eyes shut? There they go. They just opened up.
That's breathing. Did you see him breathe?
I saw it.
That was the breathing.
He just took his first breath.
That's incredible.
Oh, it's so special. This being born, this birth thing for reptiles is fascinating.
So they go from being that small to how large again?
Oh, they'll grow over 6 feet.
That's unreal that they go from being so small to such a large animal. Now, what is something that little going to eat right off?
Well, the first couple of months, they rely on the egg yolk that's still inside their belly. Once they've used that up, they constantly search with their forked tongue and they eat just about anything. Frogs, insects, rats, mice, baby snakes, they'll eat anything.
I'm so glad we showed up just in time so they didn't become a meal for that great big goanna.